means I believe that we are ready to go live. Forgive Loki here. He's going to hang out in our peripherals today. But welcome. My name is Cody Anderson. I'm joined by Jordan Vogel, and we're both part of Good Rep Media. And if you're new here, Good Rep Media is a small business marketing agency. We help small businesses rank better on Google. We've been doing it for a couple of years. And if that's something you need, if that's something one of your friends need, if you know someone who owns a small business, you want to start one, you just want some information, this is the podcast live content that you want to consume. We have a lot of good advice. We've helped a lot of small businesses basically get on the map for the first time ever. And if you're on the map, raise up. Turns out being in the top 1, 2, or 3 spots on Google Maps or Apple Maps is really, really important. I remember there was a study that came out in Google way back when that it was like 80 something percent of people who Google click on the first option. Do you think that holds true now, Jordan?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I still don't feel like I'm clicking anything past the third option.
I'm trying to think of like the last time I scrolled to like the second page of
That's what I
Google.
was just about to ask. Like, when do you think the last time you went to a page 2 on a Google search was?
Realistically, it's been a hot second, but I've also not been using Google as much to find like businesses or anything like that. I'm not going to Google like Mexican food near me and go to page 2. That's not usually what we're doing here.
Right.
But hey, if this is your first time listening, this is episode 2. Go back and check out episode 1. We're doing a callback to what your small business needs. Last week, we talked about Google business profiles. We had some good information on what you can do while you were listening to our podcast to optimize your Google business profile. Quick heater on all of those: name, address, phone. Go make sure that those are all correct. Go make sure all of your services are listed. Go make sure your hours are listed, and go reply to any reviews you have. If you can, upload some new pictures. Real easy checklist, 5 things that you can go do right now. Any other quick ones that you got off the dome?
I mean, I think you wrapped up most of the ones I was going to say there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will reinforce the very first one you said of your name,
Yeah.
address, phone, and app, and making sure that is consistent on everywhere that your website is.
Yeah, I think that's always the most important one. But realistically, you want to have consistent branding across all the platforms. As is, this week we're going to be diving into websites. Jordan, this is a little bit more of what you have experience with, a lot more of what you do. How long have you been building websites?
Well, I mean, like, professionally, probably like a year and a half now or so, a little over that, maybe going on 2. But before that, I wasn't actively building a whole lot. I did, I went to school for graphic design and learned how to do a bit of HTML coding there, and learned a few things about that. Definitely didn't learn anything about like the search engine side of things there. It was more about making a website that looked pretty versus like building a website that like turns up. But yeah, I'd say probably, I don't know, I'd say 2 years to be safe. Not super long,
Downsize it
no.
just to make sure that we're kind
Yeah.
of all on the same page here. Which
Yeah.
realistically, I mean, I think I want to highlight, it doesn't take a lot to build a website.
No.
It can. The more and the longer that you build websites, I think you're going to notice a lot of things that can be changed and updated. Like if you could go back, it's one of those situations. If you could go back to you when you first started building websites, what advice would you give? Because I'm sure oh my gosh, I mean, hell.
Yeah, like the entire process would be different. Start to finish, the entire process just completely different.
Now, with that said, when we're talking about setting up a small business website, because that's what we want to mainly get into today, is you've got your Google business profile, you have your idea, and you're finally like, okay, I need to put together a website. I want to touch on the first major point, which is you need a clear website structure, and you need to be able to have a nice looking site that functions. More than anything else, you need something that functions and is realistically nice to use. I land on especially news websites these days. Like if I'm scrolling Facebook and I click on an article, open it up, and I get hit with an ad blocker and 14 million pop-ups, and then I have the Google AdSense at the bottom of the screen, I close your page immediately because it just sucks.
Yeah.
Do you run into that?
Yeah, like I particularly hate the ones that it's like I have to scroll for like, like 3 folds just before I even hit like the title of the article, and it's like, yo, you guys are cramming way too much in here. You're not going to get someone to stick around on that website for a long time, and Google's going to notice that.
Yeah. And that's just one of the ranking factors. So when you're getting into structure and navigation, I think a couple of the very first place to start is you want navigation. You want some type of top bar on your website, and you're gonna realistically go to chat gpt and type in, hey, here, where's my checklist, let me get this checklist going. We'll probably include, here's your checklist, alongside these with a couple of notes. But navigation, and in that navigation bar you want to make sure you include as much as you possibly can, because if I need to click, what's the term for clicking like 3 clicks deep? Isn't there a term for that?
Um, yeah, there is. Oh my goodness, why am I drawing a blank on it now
I
too?
was like, immediately, oh dude, this is one of the terms I wish I had written down. But
Yeah, I should know that. I should just know that off the top of my head though. But I get what I know what you're saying. Like basically like a page that isn't going to be listed there right off the top of your site, but like basically you go through it by navigating from one page to the next, which will then lead you to that one.
yeah,
Um yeah.
think of it like the 3 click rule. I do
Yeah.
think it is a 3 click rule. Realistically, no page on your website should exist more than 3 clicks away from your homepage. I do think that's like a marketing rule that they teach you in college or something
Yeah.
along those lines. So, for example, if you are on your homepage and you click on the meet the team or about us page, you click on that, that's 1 click. Now you click on, oh, here's the team, it has a bunch of pictures. You can click on someone's bio and it opens their page. Now you're 2 clicks deep. Now on that bio page, if you have another third page, which is, okay, what has this person written? You click on that third page and here's a list of everything that I've written. If that's the only way to get to everything that I've written, that particular page, that page is 3 clicks deep. Now, if you added another page, that's 4 clicks, and all of a sudden it's way deep down there. And those are something that Google pays attention to when ranking your website, on top of load speeds and what your website says. It looks at the idea of like, how deep does your website go? How user friendly is it?
Yeah. Something that kind of helps with that, if you do find yourself kind of in an unavoidable situation where it's like, okay, well, it's looking like I'm going to have a fourth page out there or something. Module breadcrumbs, like those little things that you'll see up at the top of like a lot of pages where it like kind of shows you how you got to where you are, where it like will be like homepage, contact, like email, and it'll be like, oh, here's each of those stages that I went down to get here, and I can click on them to go back. Those really help Google kind of recognize like how you get to those pages. And it
Yeah.
really kind of helps those not be as detrimental, or sorry, no, that's not the right, what's the word I'm looking for, like that hurt, not,
Yeah. Well, no,
yeah,
I think
like,
detrimental is right.
yeah. um but like, yeah, definitely those are like a big thing that's going to help with that. The next thing that's going to really help with that is having a clear readable sitemap for
Mhm.
Google is also the next major thing that really kind of helps mitigate how much that really harms your site.
Yeah, and there's this whole system people are going to talk about, and when you get into research on like, oh, how do you get a site ranking on Google? It's going to talk about sitemap, schema, page titles, metadata, a lot of these technical type terms. Realistically, a sitemap is something that you set up once, and it's the same consistently,
In
right?
theory, yes. Some people kind of do them a little bit different. So like I know like my Friday gig, whenever I'm adding pages to a site, I have to go through and I have to manually add that into like the XML file. They
Okay.
don't run like a plugin or something for it where it's like auto generating it. They make them their own. And then I doing that, I've kind of learned some of the different things that you can put into the sitemap. Like you can put like pay like the frequency of changes, like if like you change that page like every week, you can go into the sitemap there if you're hand making it and be like, yeah, change frequency weekly. You can put like page prio and stuff like that down in it. So there is some interesting things, and I'm very curious to kind of like go in and do some research to figure out how the benefits or like the pros and cons kind of weigh against like just having one that is automatically updating, like a Yoast sitemap or something like that. I like to think that it automatically kind of considers the like the change frequency and stuff on its own. It might be able to see that, but I would be interested to see the difference.
Yeah, I would assume that Yoast does a lot of things like that. Realistically, what we use on our websites is we use a plugin that helps manage all of our sitemaps so that it's constantly updating and pushing our new pages. What this means is whenever we publish a new page, the sitemap automatically gets updated and we don't need to do anything with it. I do want to highlight this comment because I think it's a really good one. What pages are absolutely essential on your website? If you had to think, I'm going lawn care business right now. List
Okay.
those.
Well, so for our lawn care business. I want to preface
Cool.
everything I'm going to say by saying something I say often is situations are situational. Not
100%.
every website is going to require the same thing. Not every website requires a blog page, but like those are something that has helped us find rankings on certain different websites. But I would say obviously every website needs a homepage that is going to describe the business and tell about the business in a way that Google can see that and repeat that onto its own search engine. And then after that, you probably want some type of about page that does the same thing, but it just tells Google like, hey, this is where to direct people if they are just trying to learn specifically about like who we are as a business. That's a big one. Google loves those. Contact pages are very big ones as well. On those contact pages, make sure you have adequate information kind of put down as well. Your NAP is going to want to be consistent there with what it has on Google, your Google business profile. That's also a great place to kind of dive into the schema of things. We're going to talk on that a little bit later, so I won't go too much into there. Yeah. But that's just a great opportunity for Google to have a location that it knows it can pull your information from to give it to people on a search result. So yeah, I would say about, contact, and homepage are the three most absolutely essential things to have.
Yeah, there's this idea of like start somewhere and then escalate and create something bigger and better. Start with a homepage. If you are, I mean, we've worked with small businesses who basically are operating with a Facebook page. Hey, I do everything on Facebook. I go live on Facebook. I'm thinking of, we worked with a naturopath basically who did like stone sales and things like that. It's like, I go live, everything's on Facebook. We're like, okay, bet, let's help you with a website so that you have a little bit more here. And we started with a simple landing page. You start with a one page, this is my website, so I have a URL. And then you slowly expand that out to include more and more pages that are useful. Now, some of those businesses you mentioned, you don't need a blog page. Including a blog page is not going to hurt you. I think of like on our massage therapy website, one of our clients, we've written a few different articles for him specifically on like how to tip a massage therapist, why you should drink more water after getting a massage. And those articles get like actually hundreds of clicks.
Yeah.
And that's like insane.
The best thing a blog article is going to do for your website is give you authority on a topic. Like we with the massage therapist, our massage therapist, when we came into his website, already kind of had established manual lymphatic drainage as like something that they were already getting decent traffic on. It was something that they were unique about, so they were already kind of gaining authority. But then once we were able to go through and get those blog pages put up, then Google really started to push that, because we were one of the few massage clients or massage companies here in the area that was specifically like giving information. Now, something that's very important about those blogs is that those blogs have to be valuable. You can't just word vomit like, oh, this is what it is. Like you gotta list out the benefits. You have to say like how long it takes, what's going to happen, the processes, what the cost tends to be, things like that. Like as much information as you can get on a blog about a topic is going to make it so that Google is going to push that topic more or that service page more, because they know that you kind of have that information.
No, and I do want to answer the rest of that question real quick, because there's a couple of specifics that once you have your initial landing page, you have an About Us, you have a Contact Us page. Realistically, you want to show Google that your website is providing a service and where it can provide that service. So think of it, if you're a lawn care business, I always go back to lawn care because it's an easy one. We operate in a bunch of different places. We have a lawn care company that we work with that can operate in one city as well as all the surrounding cities. So we've created a locations page. That locations page has individual pages for each and every nearby neighborhood or area. So if someone Googles, just as an example, we're in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'm in Granville, technically. So if someone in Granville is like, Granville lawn care near me in Granville, Michigan, great. We'll have a page, a location page dedicated to Granville saying, hey, our Grand Rapids lawn care company can 100% help you in Granville. Reach out. We have a page dedicated to that. And that gives Google, that tells Google a signal, and it tells your clients and anyone who goes to your site or navigates to your site, which is mainly how AI is finding us these days, that you operate in those areas, that you are willing and ready and able to go out and handle those neighborhoods. Similarly, services. If you do services, I told you to list them all on your Google business profile, list them all on your website, every single one of them, and they should each have their own individual pages. because if you're going to Google that service, you want to have that page show up.
Now, an important thing to do when you have each of these different types of pages, now I'm going to kind of dive into that schema side a little bit here. That is a great time to start implementing your schema in there. If you have service, a service page is going to have different schemas than a location page is. And what that schema is going to do.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I want to what is schema for those of us who don't know schema? Because I know broadly what schema is, but fundamentally, what is it actually?
Yeah. So basically what schema is it's a line of code specifically to tell search engines what they are looking at. Mm-hmm. So if you have an FAQ on a website, you can attach to that FAQ module a line of HTML schema that you're going to drop in there that doesn't show up. You can't read it on the site or anything, but it's in the code there. And what that's going to do is each of those lines will be here's the question, here's the answer. And then it'll specifically tell Google, this is an FAQ, this is what the question is, this is what the answer is. It kind of takes some of the guesswork out of what Google is doing for you.
Yeah. And you'll notice on Google specifically what my parallel is when you Google a question and it gives you that FAQ or the drop down questions in the actual search result. That's what you're basically doing. You're saying, hey, my schema can answer those questions. So if someone Googles, hey, should I water my lawn? You have an FAQ talking about how often should you water your lawn.
Yes.
And that,
it basically what it's doing is it is simplifying it for Google to know what it's what it is seeing, because Google's getting advanced. Google can look at your page without schema now. It can read your text, it can figure out what's going on it, and it can still promote your page that way. But if it has this condensed little thing here, you can also add it to your calendar. If you have an events calendar on your website, you can add schema to it that tells it, hey, this is when I'm doing what I'm doing, to kind of help it pop up when you search it on Google. It'll also kind of prioritize a little bit of the information on your page for Google. So if you have there's site-wide schema, and then there's individual page schema. Mm-hmm. Site-wide is really big for kind of helping what Google shows on your search result. So sometimes you'll see someone will have you'll search a business, and then it'll be here's our about page, here's our services page, here's our contact page, and it's all listed underneath your main metadata that you have for your homepage. Mm-hmm. That's what the schema is doing there, is it's kind of prioritizing and telling Google what pages are what, and so that it can break it up and it can feed it to Google in a way that makes it so that you have navigation there in your search result even before you get to your web page.
Yeah, and this is getting deep into how you can communicate with Google, and something that search engine optimizers, we call them SEOs. If you've not heard of SEO, how to optimize for Google, how to make your site show up at the top of Google. It's something that SEOs have been doing for forever, is how do we better rank in Google? How do we tell Google that our website is the best? And one of the things with AI coming out recently, and that we're finding as marketers, is you need more than just an SEO optimized site for Google. Optimizing your brand, search brand optimization, SBO, is becoming much more important. And part of that brand optimization is how your users view your brand. Because AI is giving Google and all of these search engines in general, a much easier way of being hey, if someone wants to search for, I'll use Comfort as an example. Comfort is a sweat brand. If someone wants to shop for Comfort, they might do it all within an AI and be hey, so I want to shop sweats. Can you compare this to this? The more information Comfort is able to have consistent across all of its branding, the more likely it is to show up in AI. Similarly, the more likely you are to show up. So for example, our massage therapist client that we work with shows up in AI extremely well because we've written a lot of articles about topics that AI cares about, and he has consistent branding across everything that he does. The name is very recognizable, and that's huge. I call it building trust with signals. You're sending great signals to Google as well as to your customer base that your branding is consistent, that your company, that your business is consistent, and you can provide that service. And that's huge.
Yeah. I want to also say, so I've dove into schema there. Schema gets a little complicated. The next, the thing that probably should have been talked on one step before that is your metadata. That was something that we haven't really touched on too heavily yet. And basically what that is you adding into it, like adding into each individual page exactly what is going to show up on your search results, so you have control over like how you want it to show up on Google, at least in that
Mhm.
sense. So say you want like, I want all of my search results to have what the page is first, and then like, my brand name. um it's just a great way to kind of target the keywords that you are really trying to hone in on and get yourself to show up as on a search result. So I do want to stress how important that is, that you make
Mhm.
sure you kind of do your research before you are building out this type of information on your website, because like you have to know what you want to show up for in the first
Yeah.
place. So a lot of people may be like, oh, obviously I'm a massage client, I want to show up for massage near me, and it's like, okay, great, well that's going to be really really hard, but if you know
It's
that
gonna.
you are doing something like manual lymphatic drainage that a lot of people around you are not doing, you can start learning, okay, how much search traffic does that get? You go to your SEMrush, you go to your Ahrefs, you go to whatever it is that you're going to do to kind of do your research into how much this keyword gets searched. And if it's worth your time, then yeah, you start putting out your blog with it. You do a page about it that has metadata and schema that tells Google what manual lymphatic drainage is and what you offer with it. And then you'll start showing up a lot higher for that, because not a lot of people are fighting for that.
Yeah.
You like
I mean, if
find
you're
easy entries.
it's short tail versus long tail keywords. People Google short tail things a lot longer than long tail things. If you know what manual lymphatic drainage is and you're Googling manual lymphatic drainage massage near me, it's a lot different than someone Googling massage near me. More people Google massage, but they're a lot more broad of an audience. You're
Yeah.
basically niching yourself down, and the more consistent you can make that, the better.
Yes.
Now, I do want to highlight testimonials, reviews, awards, certifications. If you have the opportunity to ask for reviews, you need to set those up. You want your website, you want your trust signals to exist. You want Google to know that your website's real, your directory listings. This is your Yelp, your Google business profile, all of the possible directories that you could exist in are all consistent. And the more consistency you have across all of your profiles for name, address, phone, your business information, your services, your pricing, and it all links back to the same place, your booking platform, you're going to look a lot better than someone who doesn't have all of that set up, who doesn't have all of the social media, and none of it matches. And
Yeah.
I think recognizing that is easy, like that, obviously, right? I don't think
Yeah.
anyone's
But
surprised by that,
yeah,
but
and
doing it is another thing.
yeah, and all of those things that you listed there are another opportunity for like you to, and this is, I'm hammering this because it's something we've learned here
Mhm.
more recently. Those are all great opportunities. Those are all things that can be pointed out in your schema. When you have testimonials, you can go in there and be like, hey Google, this is
Yep.
a testimonial, this is what it's saying. And it makes it a lot easier. Another thing, like you said, kind of like linking it back to your Google business profile. If you have anything that can directly like draw from your testimonials and reviews that you get on Google and showcase them on your website, that helps a lot. And then also, if you have an actual location on your Google business profile, taking that location and embedding a map onto your website is also really big.
Yes. I will say, if all of this sounds like a lot of work and this checklist sounds aggressive to you, we are a small business marketing agency, and this is why we know all of these things. We're providing the advice for free because we know that it's a lot of work. It takes a lot
Mhm.
of effort. It takes a lot of energy, and that's why people pay us to do it. If you want specific advice to your situation, go to goodrep.media/chat and schedule a free 30-minute consultation with me. I'll talk to you about your business 100% for free. I've talked to a number of people about their businesses. I will try to upsell you on all of our services. It's going to be crazy. I've got tons of services to upsell you on. But also, if you want to talk Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, Pokemon, cats, I'm down for a lot of different conversations here, realistically. But please do own a business. I do have to add that caveat. I've had a couple of people schedule for calls that don't own businesses, and I can't justify that, sadly. Uh,
So what? They have to own a business to talk to you about Dungeons and Dragons and their
you
cat.
do, because I have to be able to pitch you. Now, if I can't pitch you, I can't add you to the CRM. And if I keep a meeting without adding you to the CRM, it looks a little bit wonky. We got systems, okay? We got systems in place. Now, mind you, it only looks wonky to me. So, like, let's be real. I'm my own worst enemy here. But that's what we do. Now, I want to end this off really quickly with something that I feel like a lot of people don't realize. Most of the traffic coming to your website, most of the traffic coming to you, if you are a local business, is mobile. I promise. I don't know if this is surprising information to people, but most of the people who are googling your restaurant, your lawn care company, your massage therapy business, your local party planner, anything, they're doing it on their phone. And the amount of websites I find, navigate to, check out that are not mobile optimized actually kills me. Go to your website on mobile and optimize it for mobile. If you're using a builder, like, there's a little navigate to mobile and then edit it there. Like, those exist on almost every builder ever. Realistically, man, there's
As
no excuse. But
You're absolutely right. You are 1,000% correct. You absolutely need to do that. I will say, as a developer, like, I think that
oh,
that
you
was
hate
like
it?
one of my like no, I yes and no. It's just like it's one of those things that, like, when you're building it on a computer. So like your brain just wants to build it on the computer, and then like you have to go back and be like you want to build it mobile first because that makes more sense, but then like it never transit, like it's so much easier to build it desktop and then shrink it down to mobile, but like deep down it's like I wish that there was a way to kind of reverse engineer that and make like a mobile one that's easier to expand out to desktop. But like it's frustrating.
It's a difficult process. I mean, mobile first optimization is insanely difficult. I will say, like you said, you're working on a computer, you're looking at a screen, you're like,
Mm,
let me make it look good on my screen." We've run into the issue, and on one hand, I feel bad about this. On another, we're lucky. When you send me things and you're like, "Look at this on your giant ass screen," because
yeah.
my screen reformats things because I basically work on a giant television almost. But
Mhm. Yeah, and
um,
like it's so frustrating. Like literally, we just had something that we worked on there. Like I sent something to one of our clients who needed something, and it's like on their screen it's really tiny, and so everything was thrown off. So I went through and I adjusted it to make it right on their screen, and they're the ones who need it to be like right on their screen. Then I send it to you, and you're like, "This is the wrong size on your big old screen," and I'm just like I get in theory like you need to be able to make things that are like reactive to like all different screen sizes, and I do try and work with that, but then also there are just times where too big is too big and too small is too small.
yeah,
you
I mean,
know
realistically, and I think that's something to acknowledge, man.
yeah,
Like, our sites rank, and we don't do everything perfectly, but we're problem solvers. At the end of the day, the goal is to solve a problem, not be perfect. Not
yeah.
everything's going to be perfect. I mentioned this, and I sometimes feel like we're so unprofessional, and then I'm like, "Oh, our clients are like, I want to let you know, fun fact, our massage clients' profits have doubled since the beginning of this year, like, actually doubled."
Yeah.
I'm amazed over just like the past couple of months what we've been doing with them, and I'm like, "Holy crap!" Because
he
of the
has gone
traffic
he
from
has
those
gone
articles.
he has gone from being someone who has a room in like that studio
Yeah,
to renting out the rooms to other people in the studio. Like he is
yeah,
now like the one running that whole studio, and I think that's
and
super
that's
cool.
what we want to do here, and we're here to do that for the small business owners. We're probably not working with your giant companies, but we enjoy the
Coming for
clients that
you,
we do
Apple.
have. Now, with that said, do you have anything that you want to end off on for mobile talking points, optimization, schema? Your final suggestion to that small business owner who's listening right now.
Go through each page and just find the things that you can add that schema to, because I do think that that is one of the bigger things that are being missed these days. Making sure you can add that to anything that you can is really going to help Google kind of know what it's looking at. Making sure that you have the page wide, site wide schema, like the overarching things like Yoast can make it really easy for you. You can go through, like, even if you don't want to go through and be like, oh, here's my FAQs, here's this, here's that, like individual within the page, you can still give it like a top level. This is a contact page, this is a products page, this is this is my homepage, and that's literally just from a Yoast plugin on WordPress, where it's just like a little drop down, and you just pick it. At the very least, make sure you are doing that. If you're on
Actionable steps,
WordPress,
man.
if you're building on something else, figure it out.
Realistically, go Google it. Those are the types of things to figure out. And if you do want help with that, reach out. Schedule a free 30-minute consultation. Would love to do that. Goodrep.media/chat. As is, pick one area of your website to improve this week. If you don't own one, talk to someone about it. Navigation. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, I kind of figured out something that like I would rather my last thing be. Everything we've said here. Yeah, you get your sneezes out. I'm gonna
Oh, I
I'm
just
gonna
had
say
one
this.
finally.
But yeah, everything we've said here is important that you do all of it. But all of it is important for different reasons. So if you're having different, like if you're like, oh, I'm struggling, like Google's not finding this when we're searching for it, or like if you have a specific problem that you're having, figure out what one of those things we talked about could potentially influence it the most. And then, like Cody said, if you take 1 week to work on one thing, then at least you know what you need to improve on during that week. So if all of that is too much, though, if like we listed a bunch of things and it's all too much and you don't want to do it, like Cody has said, come to us, goodrep.media/chat, schedule a time to talk to Cody. He'll get out there and he'll figure out for you what it is that you are lacking on your website, and we'll get it fixed for you.
Yeah, I like to call it low-hanging fruit. What can we hit right away in order to get improvement? And what can we do over time to see that improvement grow?
Yeah.
So if that's something that interests, love to chat. As is, thanks so much for joining us on this episode of Lunch with the Boys. I've been Cody Anderson, joined by Jordan Vogel, and we're both part of Good Rep Media, small business marketing agency. Do join us next week at noon, where we're going to be talking about review systems, payment processors, SMS, email marketing for small business, all of those things that you need to set up while you've got a business going that you probably don't have set up. Do you have automated emails going out? Do you have an SMS number? Like, are you sending text messages? Are you reaching out to your clients at all? Are you scared to send them an email because you don't know how that works necessarily? Have you ever written an email to send to a list of 1,000 potential clients? That's anxiety inducing, man. Uh, I've sent millions, and I am not kidding, actually millions of emails before. So if that's something you want to learn more about, if you want to figure out how, well, I've also sent millions of text messages. I don't want to think about that. If you want to figure out how all that works, if you want to get millions of reviews, maybe a couple, join us next week. But thanks so much, man. Thanks for joining me, Jordan. And
Of course.
we will see you guys next week. Peace out.